I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new.
Hello,
I'll
America.
read you the first line of We Americans. Look at this.
Settle in, kids. This is your bedtime reading.
God,
with
what a
Sam Holding.
horrifying thought. So, We Americans. A story of the man library. Oh, hang on. Living
It's
through
gonna be a
the
long
Civil
episode.
War. I don't think anyone's around who did that.
Mhm.
But picturing our past. No. When I say the first bit, I'm not going to go through this. This is just pictures of. But happy Thanksgiving.
I do love how Americans are literally just like, yeah, life
It
began
did.
in
Look at this.
1876.
Wheatfield. Happy Thanksgiving.
Stunning. That could be plucked straight
Yeah.
out of Hereford.
So
That.
what are you grateful for this year?
Oh yeah, okay. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
What are you grateful for?
What am I not grateful for? This has been a hell of a year.
Yeah.
My looks after they've been edited on
There.
on Capture.
Although we haven't got anything on it now, and I think the light's been quite kind to us this morning.
I'm so thankful for my family. Because without
Homeless.
them, I would just be a broke owner.
Homeless,
in
yeah,
London,
you'd be a homeless retired accountant.
refusing to go back into a 60k job just because I'm a millennial who thinks I should be
You're
happy.
not millennial. Oh yeah, we are.
I
millennials,
am.
Sorry,
I'm not 95.
I always get them mixed
It's the
up with.
cutoff.
Although it was quite interesting with some people at Thanksgiving. They were born 2003, and they're still 20, and it's quite funny hearing how they mock us. We are a mocked generation now.
I know, but what's even scarier is that when you flash your ID to a bouncer or one of the checkout people, and all they see is the 19, and just hand it straight back in a more straight way and say sorry. You're like,
I
no,
don't get that anymore because I've
fine.
aged quite poorly this year. It's really taken. Look
don't
at the
think you have,
bags under my
Sam.
eyes. Unless you intend on editing them out, I don't think it's been. I now look weathered.
I do. Very
I
much
look like
intend
I've
on
been
editing
just
them
stood out in the wind for a decade at this point. When you say
Yeah,
they took
and
over
it's
the house,
stunning day.
do you mean like they occupied it, as in like they went in with arms through?
Yeah,
Exactly. It's
Hostile
the best
takeover.
way to do it now. And don't buy a home, just take it over.
Yeah.
We're occupying it.
and release a hostage every
In
week.
fact,
Sorry,
we
that
could have an
was inappropriate.
exchange where we will swap people who are innocently kidnapped with people convicted of terror offences.
Or in our case, 15 sheep and one ram.
What would the ratio be? So you're like, I'll swap you. I always think this with these hostage negotiations. I don't know how they always arrive at some kind of ratio, because it's never like a one-to-one.
I don't get it, yeah.
And I'd consider that a poor deal. If you were like to me, hey,
Yeah.
Sam, how about I give you $1 and you give me $3? I'd be like, why don't we at least start from a one-to-one basis? Like, I think whoever did the maths, I would not give them top marks. I'd be like, you're exchanging one innocent grandma for 3 people convicted of terror offences.
It's not for us to say, is it, Sam? Only offline.
I don't know. I'm just speaking as a person observing the number. We are here to observe. That is what we do. This is an observational podcast, and today we will be observing the great state of Oregon, which we have both spent a lot of time in.
Yeah, but good flex. But M&S also observed the Christmas colours when they were burning a Christmas hat in the fire, and because Christmas colours are the same as the Palestinian flag, they were seen to be burning the Palestinian flag, and they had to retract their advert and send out
Why
a
were they
bunch
burning
of
the
public
Christmas
apologies.
Why were they
Nothing
burning the
you can get
Christmas
away
colours?
with nowadays. So they had a Christmas hat that was in red, green,
and then
white,
why did they burn it?
and that's the Palestinian flag, and it was just poorly timed. And a load of really bad reading
that is
into.
ridiculous, because I mean,
But that's what they should say. They should come out and publicly say, that's
and
ridiculous.
also, I don't
Not
want
feed
to
fire.
throw it out there too hard. I suspect anyone who's that bothered by that kind of thing probably isn't shopping at M&S anyway.
I think that is a fair enough assumption
is test the market, let people assume maybe it is the Palestinian flag, and maybe seeing whether they've got more sales.
But do you not agree that when people come up with ridiculous things, the worst thing you can do is face that head on and be like, fine, we'll take it down. You have to counteract that with
just get a backbone. I think it's why all these companies just dying now, because people are like, no, I prefer the little individual. Like I actually quite like people with an opinion, even if I totally disagree with it. Just have some kind of opinion. That's all. I'm going to take this home and watch someone else fuck my wife now.
God's sake. Oregon.
We haven't released them all. We got one in our back pocket because Cup's made by the CCP. It's owned by the same people, the Chinese Communist Party. Well, it's owned by the same people who own TikTok.
Yeah, I did know that, to be fair. Well, I knew it was owned by the same people who own TikTok. Okay, well, maybe you should try editing with something else. It doesn't have to be the same thing as me. But CapCut does work quite nicely. I'm not surprised.
No wonder it was taking up all my memory. It was just scooping everything up. Here we go. We'll take your file and your life. And I'm like, okay, see ya. Export. Just send over to Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
If Workday were to ever sponsor this, that would be huge. And I don't see why they wouldn't. This is their target market.
Imagine Guy F1 and United Mates of America.
Yeah. So shout out to our sponsors, Salesforce and Workday.
Should we just say it?
Yeah. Shout out to our sponsors.
Is that illegal?
Shout out to our hopeful sponsors.
We'll find out.
Who would you like? Who would you like to claim today?
Well, I honestly want Workday. Because then more people will like my F1
Workday and Marlboro cigarettes. We are unofficially advertising cigarettes here. Because it's what we do. I was in Virginia and those people love it. They still do 2-for-1 on cigarettes.
Wow. And do the price of cigarettes differ from state to state?
I know.
Really?
If you're considering moving, that would be my number one criteria I'd look into. Be like, well, no, but you'd start, obviously.
Sorry.
It's still cool.
I forgot.
Regardless of what people tell you. I thought we were millennials, not fucking Gen Z. We still think this is cool. We grew up.
No. I tried it.
Yeah, I know. I've got pictures of you smoking in a hotel lobby.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I used to be so much cooler. I need to get out
liberating is
house
that,
again,
by the way, that you can smoke a cigarette at the hotel check-in. That is freedom.
Yeah, they've really lost their way.
That you cannot nowadays. Imagine just going into a Hilton DoubleTree in London, being like in the lineup, just smoking and then throwing it on the floor. You'd be like, well, actually, Brits probably wouldn't say anything. They'd just bitch about you later. Oregon. I've been looking forward to this episode because there's a lot of good things that I remember about this state and a lot of bad things I remember about this state.
We both went to Oregon, by the way.
We loved it. We went from the north, surprisingly, down to the south. The thing that I do really remember about Oregon most is the contrast between like wokey Portland that we'll get onto in a minute. And then we went out to Myrtle Creek because I wanted to go to a rodeo. This was my first ever rodeo, and we kind of hitched up a tent in a field in a very, it's like a cowboy style community, I'd say. And that was actually potentially one of my favorite of the trip.
I think so. I really mystified the place in my head, and I have such an exaggerated memory of things, and that tends to be why I do actually exaggerate. It's not because I mean to exaggerate. I actually just have an exaggerated memory of things. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember pitching up to some petrol station or gas station, and we either saw an advert for this or you just happened to be speaking about it word of mouth, and you were like, guys, there's this rodeo.
It was a supermarket in Pacific City. Yeah, I was asking the guy at the top out.
Yes. Okay. No, that wasn't fake.
The little rabbits around the campsite.
It was so annoying that my memory is just so hit and miss because I don't really remember that. I remember Pacific City being so windy, and we all went on. We went on the beach, and it was like one of the most beautiful campsites.
Do you remember seeing the car just getting a bit washed into the sea where people had parked up their cars on the beach? So
Yeah. RVs.
Yeah,
never to be
this is
seen
one of the
again,
best things
literally.
about America, in my opinion, that you can drive your car onto the beach and then you pitch up and you can have like a barbecue and whatever. I don't know what these people were thinking. Like the tide was coming in and they weren't like, oh, I'll drive off now. They like waited until half of their car was a bit submerged and then we're trying to rush out. There's just a bunch of stupid Brits hiding in the sand dunes at the back of the beach trying to light a zoot. Like, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. But yeah, we went.
But we sat on sand dune for about an hour getting whipped to shit by this sand in this, I would call it legit like a mini sandstorm. And then and we got like wind burnt, and that was probably the most tanned I've ever been. And it was just
I think you just
slowly
faded in
faded
the face by sand, and then we had like that box wine that had all the sand in it. But we then made our way down to Myrtle Creek, which I really think is like somewhere worth spending a bit of time on. That was actually the one and only time I've seen your nipple. What? At the back of the car.
When?
By the tent. At the back of the car by the tent.
What?
For some reason no, it wasn't creeping. You made it impossible not to see your nipple if something involves having your top up. Either way, that was a out of hand morning because the night before or the day before, we had the rodeo, which to picture Myrtle Creek, everyone is quite off the beaten track. Like it's a small rural town. They have this rodeo.
Is it
village
a town?
Area.
A strip. It's a strip of road that has a bit of like, it has the Tex-Mex, which doubles up as
they actually cut us off, pub, which was he didn't want to serve any more dirty drinks for Izzy's birthday.
He made them put on the Tunisia.
England I know. I don't know where they were streaming that from.
Yeah, neither. But they were like, they didn't even know the World Cup was on, and us being like ignorant Brits thought that it was the center of the universe. Well, they didn't even know
because it was basically a Tex-Mex restaurant that was. And we went in It was our friend's birthday. And we used to have this tradition. I think we've grown past it now, but where you'd basically go to the bar person and ask them to make the dirtiest drink possible. To which she was like, what, like a rum and coke? You're like, no. I'm like, fucked up. I want you to take that Tia Maria, put red wine, tequila, and then spit in it. And she's like, what? Anyway, she made us two.
That's my stamp for my nipple.
Legit. It was compulsory. But she made us a please, and then eventually was like, I can't serve you guys any more of these. We were like, looking back, we were quite ignorant and rude. We were like, oh, come off it. Like, take $10 and shut up with you. We were like, you haven't got anyone else in here. Like, come on. Because they didn't. They had no one else. And so that was good. No. I remember that people were just a bit confused to see us.
Well, I'm not surprised because we didn't actually have a plan that we'd like put a stop in to go to Myrtle Creek, but it was definitely off the beaten track, and we only popped in because we heard about this rodeo, and I think probably the entire population of Myrtle Creek and its perimeters went to this rodeo, which was one of the craziest things I've ever
felt
seen.
like to a celebrity.
And 3 young ladies in the wild cow riding.
Oh my god, I thought they were going to say
we're all members of the Rebel Rodeo Club.
We're going to have the best
when they win, not if.
And it was one of those cowboy movie moments where we walked in and everything stopped and a tumbleweed went by and someone like put his spike in his boot.
What was your highlight of the rodeo?
Of the rodeo? So, God bless her soul, it'd have to be our vegan friend Holly witnessing some very questionable moments of animal potential cruelty going on at this point. Okay, so I've never seen. So I witnessed a few of the English traditions of shooting and hunting around here, and I've never seen anything like this. Sam,
that was my favorite.
Where you had I'll get on to the rabbit catching, but I'm talking about where the man and wife were both released out of their pens on separate horses. One of them had to lasso the head of the mini cow, and the other one had to try and lasso the back left foot of the small cow at the same time. And when they did it, the cow basically snapped in two mid-air.
Well, how else do you take the cow down? How do you do it in Hereford?
Not like that. You
just
don't have cowboys in Hereford. They'd probably. Well, the cow isn't like in a pen running
a
around
field.
for its life.
You have
You'd
more
probably just
need
go
to
up
push
to
the
it.
cow over than anyone else. It's in a whole field. I don't know what you're doing wrong. It's why America's prospering and we are not, because you're like, oh, let's round the
What do you
cow up.
mean?
What are you on about? Take it down. Like, that cow is not your friend.
No, but it was just I didn't enjoy the whole like spectacle element of just seeing this cow snap in midair. It didn't actually break the cow or cow die or anything. It just wasn't very nice to watch. But as in, I enjoyed watching the Bucking the real life Bucking Bronco.
Yeah, especially the kids
Bronco.
round. The kids round where they put the kid on the
Yes,
put the kid on.
that was impressive. And having the whole keg of Stella beer for $1, I'm really down for that. And it had its own little mini economy, this town. Like, no
Cash
rules applied. And they were very
a guy
welcoming,
literally
weren't they?
gave it, like, people came up to us and were like, what are you doing here? And then there was that old guy who didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
But there was a guy in the middle who said, where they're like, oh, I really like what you're doing. And then that old guy who looked kind of like he'd just been dragged out of a mine site gave us the zoo. Do you not remember that? I felt
probably why I don't remember. No, but then in my head, we camped. This woman we met there for some reason said we could camp in her back garden. I don't think that
it was by the football pitch because they didn't have hotels or campsites or anything. So it was, we paid the lady $20 to camp in that bit of grass by the football pitch.
Oh wait, and then wasn't there a ultimate frisbee track?
Yeah, they were ahead of the game actually with the disc frizzo.
But it was like a little woodland footpath, but had like instructions and arrows for playing ultimate frisbee in this town which had a population of about 25.
Like, work team building days. That's
yes,
true.
For the Tex-Mex.
True. They're important.
And then, so at the end of the rodeo, they, instead of doing some budget like gift bags for the kids, they released a whole truckload of bunny rabbits and then got the kids to chase it. And
all these kids literally going and jumping on these rabbits.
2, 3, 4, go get it. Mom, don't touch that rabbit, Mom.
Pick it up,
Older kids, do not touch a rabbit.
Pick it up, pick it up.
That's the little kid. Hey, Mom, let him go. Let him go. There you go. You catch him, sweetheart.
I don't think most of those rabbits made it out of that pen alive. I reckon the kids caught it and then pick it up by its neck and go like,
"Oh, not nice." Like that. The evil
like
guy
that.
from
I thought
Toy
you were
Story.
from a farming community.
I know, but actually, farmers get a really bad rep for not liking animals because they eat animals. When actually they're really like love animals and love nature and treat them really well.
Oh, I'm not against that, but I mean, they definitely end up dead.
Yes, one way or another. But don't we all?
That's quite profound. That's quite profound. Do you remember at Myrtle Creek? So we got quite binned that day. Like, it was a very fun day. Probably one of the best days in my life to date.
Yeah, I'd agree with that actually. And then England obviously won against Tunisia 2-1. Harry Kane scored in the 91st
when
minute.
You talk about football to me is like,
okay, well,
you know.
Yeah, Sam and Grog, the two lads on the trip, hated football, and Holly and I were the hooligans.
It's just like, I don't want to hear about like, Harry Kane's knee, things I could not give a fuck about.
But it was
hate
home.
all of that.
It was coming home in Myrtle Creek, Oregon.
But, you know, that's one of the things when I hear this like football chat back home of any kind, I want to shoot myself immediately. Like, no,
you can't because you're in England.
I have to stab myself.
England.
I have to stab myself,
freedom.
or just go outside.
Better.
I think.
Yes.
The other thing that I remember about Myrtle Creek was I went to that cash point to go and get 400. I don't know why I get $400 out,
this.
but I basically put. The weird thing was that cash machine gave you your card back before the cash, which is the opposite way around. So anyway, I took this money out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take the money out. I went and typed it in, took my card, and then left. Anyway, I went back the next day because I was like, saw the notification on my phone, and I was like, did I get cash out? Because I don't have anything on me. All I have is a vague memory of guest's nipple and a rabbit catching. So...
It's a dream.
So I went back up there and I was like, inquired about it, and they were like, we've handed it in to the sheriff. And I'm like, whoa. these are some good moral people. This would never happen anywhere else. And so I then have to go to the sheriff's office in my swim shorts. They look like they're lined up, ready to invade Iraq. Like, I've never seen such heavily armed folks for such a small town. I was like, what we're doing in here? But yeah, went just collecting my money in an envelope. I think I tried to tip them and they said no. So I had to go back and tip the lady in the shop because that was very good.
For the next like 10-hour road trip would not stop going on about how good these people were, and then decided to come and do like effectively a season working as a cowboy on a farm around America because like he'd realized his full dream. You forgetting to take £400 out of the cash point after you'd taken your card out. I think yeah, a little bit.
It was really iconic. So I've got some important things that I need to cover on today's episode.
Okay.
As a bit of an overview for context, I was checking which famous people are from Oregon. I've got 2.
Yeah.
That's it.
Since when?
They're the only ones who were any interest to me.
I think I know one of them as well. No, because I've forgotten.
They are both.
Is it he? Clive Eastwood.
Clint. Oh, I don't know where he's from.
Clint Eastwood.
I just had the founder of The Simpsons, whose name I can't pronounce. Is it Matt Groening? Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah. Fuck.
Nike.
Nice. You read my mind. Yeah.
So what you knew as well?
I don't know. So they're the 2 famous people from Oregon. Haven't got anything else. I do, however, have something that I really would like to discuss in great detail, and that is Portland.
Okay.
Well, no,
the floor is yours.
No, the floor is actually coming right back to you because we went to Oregon. We went to Portland together.
I'm scared. Yes, we did. One of my favorite places.
I thought it was a dump, to be honest.
Should we read out the top 10 things to do?
Get 'em. Is like, so Oregon is the most liberal state in the US, apparently. And I think Portland must be the most liberal of the liberal states. And I know what people are thinking back home, like, you raging Trumpos. No, not the case. This place is just poorly managed. Like, we just wanted a drink in the day. We were like, and basically our only option, like on the street that we were we had to go sit at a strip club. Like, why?
You won't believe this. Okay, so number 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the things to do.
We went through this list while we were there, weren't we? Trying to find things to do.
Yeah, we did. Are all bits of garden from the same park. So the International Rose Garden, which we did go to, there's a gorgeous picture of me in a pink rose. The Portland Japanese Garden, and Washington Park, which is the park where these 2 gardens are, and the Lansu Chinese Garden.
Full of homeless people.
Yeah, a shitload of homeless people, which begs the question, is there a direct correlation between the more liberal the state, the more homelessness?
Have you been California? So I think there's a couple of reasons, but it's that you don't get on, right? So it's like you can kind of do drugs in the street and just get left alone. And it was shit, wasn't it? Like in Portland, like you want to go in this 7-Eleven and you have to step over a guy who's pissed himself in the doorway. That was bleak. And then I think like in LA and stuff, it's just because they don't move the tents off the pavement. Like, just leave them.
Yeah. I remember LA being mad. And it struck me as a bit gross because of the massive sense of inequality differentials. Because you have all the rich and famous and the Hollywood and blah, blah, and then they just don't seem to do anything for the middleman.
What about people like us who just have to... They're forgotten about the middle class? Always. I think I'd like to talk about the world's smallest park because this epitomizes what a joke this city is, frankly. Like, I honestly...
I can't fit on the top 30 things to do in Portland, and considering the rest of the stuff on this TripAdvisor list, it should be amongst one of the.
Well, I hope that it's been reclassified out of the park because I remember being quite annoyed when we arrived. Actually, like it was both funny but also irritating. So they advertised. Yeah, they advertised for the smallest park. It is a plant pot, and if we just take.
And my mum's got bigger plant pots.
No,
and that's not an innuendo.
And if anything, you're looking for a smaller plant pot because it wasn't even a particularly small plant pot. So by what measure have they done this? They just awarded it to themselves. It was...
No, but it is true. And I think it's fair to get angry over this because there's some well-maintained small parks out there more deserving of the award. But I do think that in order to classify as a park, one should be able to step
I would agree
foot
with
in
that.
it.
This was just in the middle of a road.
Yes. And whilst it gave us 30 minutes of something free to do for
It was
5 students who just earned a fair amount of bob on
Do you
Bitcoin,
remember-
but the rest of us,
do you remember
like to
how
thing.
that was a walk to get there? I did not feel that was not that comfortable. When we say like homelessness, I don't want to talk about it like, I'm totally looking down on those people, but this town felt like Shaun of the Dead. It was totally out of hand.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it in sympathy, and like they need to do something about it.
Move them on.
But I don't know why you're always saying I didn't feel safe here, Sam. With 5 people, can you
I
mute
would pay
them?
anything.
No, you're with 5 people, 2 of whom are Holly and me. No one's going to mess with us.
You, Izzy, and Holly gave us absolutely no comfort. I remember being at that casino in Vegas with you, where you were quite happy to take free drinks off guys who were clearly in a gang. It was just a gang. It was not a basketball team. There was nothing basketball team about that. We went to a seedy out-of-town casino because their minimum hands were lower. And then they came up to us. They were like, yo, Rolex, we're going to fuck your girls. And we were like, right, okay, so I'm not circumcised, but also they're just friends. And you can have them. And then I remember you coming back after having taken free drinks off them for about 2 hours, being like, oh, they want us to come back to theirs. Oh, no, can you help? We were like, yeah, sure.
Shocking, really.
Never
assume. Or maybe after 2 hours,
nothing's free in this world. So there was always some kind of catch. And I remember Greg and I just thinking, this is literally the worst. Well, Greg was sleeping with Izzy at the time, so at least he had something out of it. But for me, I'd been stiffed this whole trip, sleeping under like Greg's coat by myself. I wasn't having sex with anyone, and then I'm going to get beaten up defending.
Because we were in relationships.
Well, that's not the reason. No, that's not what I mean. But I don't think that that changes this situation.
Oh, Sam, we had fun though, didn't we? I loved it. I did really like the converted old industrial buildings that they kind of made into breweries. I thought aesthetically they were cool on the eyes, and there was I remember there being a really nice bookshop there that gave me Gilmore Girls
Shame,
vibe.
I think craft tastes.
But we all just hate craft beer and IPA, so it was needed to get out of there pretty quickly. But cute picture of us sunset time back in Snapchat days of us having a cheeky happy hour pint. Yeah. It's the one. I think it used to be, or maybe it still is, the icon of this.
I think I had a Huel t-shirt on, so I was ahead of the game on Huel. Greg and I actually got rid of food. No,
it's not
meal
protein powder.
It should really be saved exclusively for like refugee camps. But somehow they've managed to convince the day-to-day population. They're like, why eat food when you can have powder with water? And Greg and I were like, we don't have to cook. This is brilliant. The only thing is, I wasn't expecting it to go so mainstream that there's a Huel machine in Heathrow.
Why are you saying it like Huel?
How would you pronounce it? How would you say the thing that begins with F and then spelt the same? Like gasoline.
I'd say fuel, but I wouldn't say it like
Huel. I got corrected. I was calling it Lidl's for quite some time. People had to correct that.
Lidl. Going back to breweries, right? Because we also went to a stunning brewery on the beach in Pacific. What was it called? Pacific City. Gorgeous place. Again, like not like that much of a vibe, but just like visibly stunning.
There is 2 Pacific cities. You have to be a bit careful.
But then loads of people recommended that we go to what was it? San Jose, and San Jose is an absolute dive. It's basically Blackpool.
It's a hotel that was, I think, $400 a night, and we tried sneaking people in. He was having none of it. When I say sneaking people in, I mean us.
Yeah, which was quite funny because it shouldn't be per person, and Sam liked sleeping on the floor anyway. So actually, we weren't doing anything wrong. Actually, no, it was 1 double bed and 5 people.
It was a huge room there. It was weirdly big.
Yeah, I think we ended up paying about $50 per person for that. It wasn't even a night at this point because I think we got there at midnight.
We've been driving around for ages.
Terrific. We thought we were in a Black Mirror episode because we kept going off the highway and then coming back and seeing the same random haunted house. We just kept going in circles.
There was nowhere to sleep.
Was it there?
Like, we were even just trying to pull up in a fucking lay-by or whatever.
No.
And you couldn't. Thing is, and maybe this is correlated with the homelessness, Oregon has a lot of interesting laws. And I don't think this is an interesting law,
I like these.
but actually maybe it answers why so many homeless people like it, because you can get money for collecting bottles and cans and shit. But
Okay.
well, it's just
That's
like
a
a
law.
thing, like, you know, like, hey, have deposit collection. I think they've got it in Holland.
Yeah. Well, like at the end of the football match.
That I actually hate that now at home, by the way, where you get the kid come round being like, can I have your cups? It's
No,
like,
no.
no, there's 15 of them. You're not having 15 quid, you little shit.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
I
doing
have
the same
your
thing and I'm
cups?
28.
You didn't pay for a single one of these.
No, I know. I do respect their financial
It's
mindset,
begging,
wanting
add
to make
value.
a little bit of a profit at that age.
Actually, and all these things are just weird, right? 'Cause the caption of Portland, or the slogan is keep weird. And it is, right? Like, we had to go to drink in the strip
Yeah, it's
club.
weird.
We actually went to the Voodoo Donuts place, which I did quite rate, having seen that on.
And we drove past, speaking of donuts, we drove past like where the Springfield town from The Simpsons was based on. And there was like a big donut.
Is that actually true? Because they have a Springfield in every state.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it is that
Oh,
Springfield.
because fucking Matt's from there.
Yes.
Matt Groening.
Which probably puts that fact with like the top 5.
Yeah, we should have probably
all
touched on
Oregon
that earlier
facts.
instead of just having a drink in a. Was that strip club
clubs.
any good? I remember it not being that great.
No. No one wanted to go in it, but Sam was adamant we must visit a strip club.
Hang on, I don't think I think you're
Two
misremembering
good
this.
reviews.
I think that, well, no,
No, I'm not.
this
My
is
memory's
actually
perfectly
totally
now.
inaccurate. The huge advocates were you and Izzy because it was weirdly cheap. It was like $3 for a beer versus the hit.
Okay, so this is true, and that would have been Holly, because Holly and I are the people that like a deal.
So this is
but no, she will back me up on this. You'd been gagging to go in a strip club the whole holiday.
That's only because it shouldn't have worked out like this. I don't know why it turned me on so much. Just lying next to Greg, listening to him have sex. I shouldn't have really done it. You know.
Oh, I mean, I think if you're like actually wanting to be scientific about it, you had been lying in a tent next to 3 girls.
I know. I didn't even.
Yeah, 110 people.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so proud of how far this has come. I didn't think we'd be.
Same. Let's add a K on the end of that.
110
Why not?
subscribers.
1,000.
Only thing is, they are
Yeah, I
slightly
know.
misled in the content that they're coming for. They come for like the short, and then they end up with this, which is a dark place. Thank you.
We're going to play a fun game because this is basically all there is to talk about in Oregon. So Portland is I think the place in the US with the highest number of breweries.
But again, they'll be tiny.
And the state of
They'll
Oregon,
be tiny. They will come up with some fucked up way of doing it. Like Gina made a batch of some piss in her sink once. Brewery.
That's so true. Yeah, and Oregon has more strip clubs than anywhere else in the country. So
that's
yeah, I know. Which doesn't really surprise me based on what we've spoken about.
Have you been to Detroit? I know Detroit's not a state, but that one road has more strip clubs on than we have like Sainsbury's locals.
Well, we clearly weren't going to the right places in Oregon then, because this is legitimate.
We should have been
Google
strip
facts.
clubs together.
Yes, Sam was asking, to be fair. So let's play a game that I like to call, is it a porn star or is it a beer? So I'm going to tell you the names of legitimate porn stars and then the names of legitimate beers, and you have to tell me what it is. Just for full disclosure, this has nothing to do with Portland or Oregon, but I think we've mostly done that.
We just needed a theme to start.
Exactly. Okay, so number 1, we'll start nice and easy. Hoppy Ending.
Yeah.
Great name for a beer. I wasn't going to put it in because it was too easy, but I just actually think it's such a good name that I'm considering going into a joint venture. Yeah, it's cheering. It's great. Chat.
It is cheering.
Yes. Right, number 2, Strokahontas.
Porn star, but I mean, it's not great for either, is it?
No. Yeah, you're right. It is a porn star, and the person that came up with this list has given each porn star a review of all of their work. But according to her inspirational work in the critically acclaimed Ask Like That series, she can't explain why she's named Pocahontas. She just has to show you.
It sounds more like an escort.
Okay, number 3. So you've got both right so far.
I
Bitter
wouldn't
Woman.
want to watch a porn star called Bitter Woman. That's got to be a beer.
Yep, you're correct. This is a stout called Bitter Woman. Number 4, Sheepshagger.
Porn star.
No, this is actually a Scotch ale, but I would have loved to have seen that as a porn star. I hope it wouldn't
Are
be a
there
literal
any countries in
translation.
the world where bestiality is legal?
Let's have a look. God,
Why?
I hope not. Oh no. God, is it Scandinavia?
This is. I need to look into the
it's Alaska,
details of
isn't it?
this.
Tell me.
My sources are currently Reddit and Pink News. Countries where bestiality is legal and same-sex marriage isn't. Oh my god! Right, number 1, Japan.
Oh no,
Okay.
that's not true.
Cuba,
Oh my god, Japan, bestiality and animal Asian porn. Oh my
Russia,
God.
Chile, Hungary, Romania, Philippines. Oh, it turns out there's quite a lot of countries where you can fuck animals. Hang on, we have a map. You can do it in Canada
Can
and
I send
Mexico.
you one? Where are you seeing this now?
Reddit.
Oh my god. This is on the Independent. Most bestiality is legal, declares Canada's Supreme Court. Fucking
Well,
hell.
I think anyway.
So long as there's no penetration involved.
Well, yeah, literally.
How does that work then? Okay, let's move on. That was horrific.
I liked
I
it.
wish I hadn't put that one in. Sheepshagger? Yeah. Okay.
Hang on,
So
but before we
you've got
move
one
on.
wrong so far.
If you had to sleep with one animal, what would it be?
What are you going to ask? Oh my god. Oh my
Just
god.
if you
you're
had
actually
to,
asking
your
me
life
this.
depends on it. Your whole family's life depends on it.
I
I
actually
know.
can't do this.
People want to know. They do.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I have to
I
have a
don't think this will
career.
hurt because this is actually a very common interview question nowadays. It was if my family and my life depended on it and I had to with one animal, which would I pick?
Shark, because then they'd kill
Why would
me
you want it to be
afterwards.
over? Why not? If you're going to,
I would.
but then just kill yourself
I'd
at
rather
the start. Don't have sex with it and then die. That's like the worst of both worlds.
To be fair, there is that series about the octopus and the man being
Yeah, I know.
revolved
There's a one
romantically.
about the Eiffel Tower as
It's on
well.
Netflix.
Like people love all kinds.
The Eiffel Tower, in a Freudian sense, is has a very penetrative look.
It is true. I wouldn't want that up me.
No, that
It's
logistically.
hard to think
no.
how much you have to pay for that.
Okay,
I
what
think
about
it's
you?
€35 to go up it, let alone it to penetrate you. It's going to be a fortune.
You'd be dead, Sam. Spiky that thing is. The top of it's just a
So if
like
you are going to
50
do
foot
that,
aerial.
just buy a ornament.
You'd
better.
have to do it that way, wouldn't you? What about you?
I was just thinking about this as you were saying it. I think a duck. Just I'd have
Why?
more control over it, less likely to go totally wrong, and I don't.
Oh my god, this is horrible.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I don't want to put myself at risk, but and also I don't think it's possible. Just let's say the duck's not on birth control. I don't think it's possible to like that. What?
Oh
I'm just
my
trying to
God.
protect.
What, just in case the duck forgot to take
Well,
his
yeah,
pill that
exactly.
morning?
You can't trust it. That duck will tell you it's on birth control. It's not. They see the nice house you live in. They see that you've got a passport. That duck is eyeing you up. You're their ticket out of that pond. They're like, he looks like the good
I'm
father to my
diseased.
ducklings. They were all stuff.
Duck's
Wow.
misinformed.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot to offer the duck community. I mean, like literally, you're coming and taking them bread. I'll take them
Not the
bread
human
occasionally, and I
community.
don't have anything. I don't owe them anything.
Oh my god. I can't believe we've just spent 10
I
minutes
think it was
talking about
important.
that. Okay. Oh my god. Next one. MILF. Is it a porn star
Beer,
or
surely,
a type
because
of
that's
beer?
just a category. You can't be watching MILF in MILF.
Fine, it's a stout. You're right. Next one. Cherry Poppins. A porn star.
That's gotta be a
or
bloke with a
type
massive
of
dick.
beer? No. It's a she, but it is a porn star. You're right. Before you check out her website, make sure your computer's good and protected. Maybe put protection on your own self too, just for extra precaution. But you'll easily see why her name is so fitting from the work
Oh,
she's doing there.
God, that sounds dark.
Next, even more.
Oh, it's not
Jesus.
like pop-ins. It's spelt like pop-ins. Hang on.
Pop hands, yeah.
I don't
Still,
find it that
It's a
attractive.
good one. Sam, even more
Beer.
Jesus. Yes, correct. I thought that was quite hard because I thought it could be like a really, and people like.
I find it
Virgin
disrespectful to my
Mary.
faith to have either alcohol or porn stars associated with that.
Okay, we're full of shit. Boo-D-Delicious.
Porn?
Yes, correct. Another hard worker who might have a better chance getting ahead in the porn world by taking some social marketing tips from sucking all the dicks, namely let your name do the talking. But for someone named Boo-Delicious, I've got to be honest, I was expecting
You're going to
a lot
have to
more
put up
booty.
pictures of all these people, by the way.
Amber's hot friend.
Oh, beer, I think. I worked
You're
in a
really good at
fucking
this.
craft brewery for a bit, which is why I hate it so much.
Yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah,
I thought
they're
that was
all
another
like
hard
amber
one.
hops. Should we put our amber hops in? I don't care. Just don't make me drink it.
Oh, really? Okay, that's quite interesting. Bit of context. And last but not least, I think we've
Oh,
got
this
one
is
wrong
my-
so far, by the way. Ginger
Oh,
Vitus.
that's not appealing for either. It sounds like a disease. Beer?
No!
Ginger
Yeah, I'm so
Vitus.
glad I got
Oh my-
another one on you. This actually took me ages to put together. Yeah, so Ginger Vitus. Don't worry, I did plenty of Googling to make sure we're talking about legitimate porn here. It's true, she is. And while we didn't use an actual photo here, because NSFW, you can tell at the first redhead glance why she goes by Ginger. Takes a few videos to fully grasp the Vitus part.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Yes.
I just got the gum disease come up. And then if you there's a category on Pornhub of gums.
So maybe it's like a
Little gum job. I've just
got
got to
anything
thank
else
you
to
for the
say?
adventures that we had through Oregon together. I hope that we'll have more in the future. And it's probably where we'll end up if we do become homeless. It's a shame that we didn't cover. I know. It's a shame that we didn't cover marriage.
Either or.
I think this would be an unstable partnership on all parts.
Yes, now I know
Shut
about
up,
your
mate.
duck
You're
fetish.
suicide with a shark. We won't be able to get health insurance together because you said that you're going to top yourself.
Only if
But
she
she
got penetrated
voluntarily
by a
did.
shark.
And I'd
So I
have to
think we're pretty
explain to them that
safe.
she could have had a duck. She could have literally chosen anything. Something cute, like a little squirrel.
I think you'd be sectioned shortly after. I'd
Not
see
if
you
I'm
in
in
a
Chile or
white
Russia.
coat. No.
Or Japan.
Or Canada. Anyway,
It's
it's been a
welcome.
pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks again,
Working
Oregon.
all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.